So Republican Congressman Doug Collins is being given access to a less redacted copy of the Mueller report, the report that you and I all saw. Collins is a longtime defender of the president, in contrast to Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler, who has suggested the report warrants more investigation. Meanwhile, President Trump is weighing in on the impeachment debate. He tweeted, quote, "Only high crimes and misdemeanors can lead to impeachment." He goes on to say Democrats committed crimes, not the president. Joining me now is CBS News Capitol Hill producer Rebecca Kaplan. Rebecca, let's start with Congressman Collins. So did he ask for this special access? Like, how did this him getting a different version of the report come about?
That's a great question, David. After the Mueller report came out, we already heard Democrats, even before last week when we got the full version of the report, Democrats had been demanding that they wanted to see the entire thing. So trying to head off any potential fights about this, when he released the full Mueller report, Attorney General Barr also said, "I'm going to make available to a small group of congressional members the ability to come to DOJ and view a less redacted version." He said he was going to let them view a few things that were blacked out in the version that you and I read, including things that relate to ongoing legal matters, sensitive and classified information, and any information that was taken out because it might embarrass someone who was not implicated in this investigation. So Representative Collins is, as far as we know, the first one who has gone over to DOJ today to take advantage of the opportunity to view this less redacted version of the report. And actually, all members of Congress right now, for the most part, are out of town because they are in the middle of a 2-week recess.
Okay, so to be clear, the Democrats were offered the chance to view the same thing Collins is taking a look at. They just said no.
Correct. Democrats said no as soon as as soon as Attorney General Barr made this offer. Democrats said they're not interested in going to view a less redacted version of the report. They have two issues with what he offered. The first is that they say it needs to be available to a broader swath of members, at least all members of the relevant committees that might glean information from this report. Now, what Attorney General Barr offered was for the top members of leadership, the top leaders in the intelligence committees and the judiciary committees to come view this report. But this does leave out a number of members of Congress, particularly members who sit on the intelligence and judiciary committees who are also interested. But the other thing Democrats have a problem with is that he said he was not going to let them view so-called 6E information, or this is information that was obtained by a grand jury in grand jury proceedings. Now, legally, Barr is not allowed to disclose this, but Democrats have been asking, based on past precedent, for him to go with them to court and ask a judge to release this information to Congress. And so far, Barr has said no.
So the video you just saw as Rebecca was talking was the Congressman Collins walking into the Department of Justice. That happened a short time ago. Rebecca, meanwhile, President Trump is suing to try and prevent the House Oversight Committee from looking at his finances, which, of course, as we know, are the subject of numerous investigations. What do you know about that lawsuit? What doesn't the president want the committee to see?
Late last month, Elijah Cummings, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, reached out to this accounting firm, Mazars USA, to ask for several years of Trump's financial records. And this stemmed actually from testimony that the Oversight Committee heard from Michael Cohen, the president's former lawyer, at the end of February, in which he suggested that the president had inflated his net worth to do, among other things, try to purchase the Buffalo Bills team. So the Oversight Committee was trying to get financial documents from this accounting firm, Mazars USA, to look into this any further. And what Elijah Cummings told reporters is that the financial firm had told him they would need what we call kind of a friendly subpoena. They couldn't just hand over the documents, but if he subpoenaed them, they might be able to turn over some information. Now, the Trump organization intervened this morning asking the court to block release of this documents. They say it's an abuse of congressional oversight power and that the committee is just looking to embarrass the president.
Interesting. Let's talk about the impeachment
the
notion,
big I word
right?
up here on
the big
Capitol
I
Hill.
word. So Nancy Pelosi is essentially saying, look, don't come talk to me about that, because even if we do it, we're not going to be successful in removing him because we don't have the votes in the Senate. However, you've got people like Elizabeth Warren who are running for president and other folks who are not just saying we ought to think about it, they're saying we ought to do it. My question to you is, based on the sourcing you have on the Hill, do you think that Democrats are in a position to either sway the speaker or force her to change her tune?
I will say, David, I don't think that we are quite there yet. For one, the people who have signed on to the idea of pursuing impeachment, it's notable. We have Elizabeth Warren, who is running for president. We also have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, freshman representative from New York.
Right.
Julian Castro.
Yep.
So all these people have microphones, but it's still incremental, just a few members. The vast majority of the Democratic caucus is still not ready to do this. And we saw yesterday on the Sunday shows, Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, and Jerry Nadler, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, saying that it's on the table, but they're certainly not rushing into anything. They want to see what Democrats all have to say. They need to digest this, figure out next steps. So certainly among Pelosi's top lieutenants, these committee chairmen who hold a lot of power here on the Hill, they are not pushing her to move forward. And I think if there's anything that we have seen from Nancy Pelosi over her short tenure as Speaker this time, she's pretty good at resisting pressure, be it from the White House or from renegade members of her own caucus.
Rebecca Kaplan, our Capitol Hill producer, very good debrief. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.